Rudy has taken single-digit shot attempts coming into game 4. A couple of chippies. You've got to score that.
Under the weather for the Lakers on Friday night. Still played 40 minutes. Gobert inside. Lost the handle. Play. Naz Reid against Reeds. Spins. Layup. Good. Finds Naz Reid. Three-pointer. Puts it in. Drives on Reid. Gets to the rim. Layup. Missed it. The second half. Now lead by 1. Doncic to James. Hachimura. Hits the 3. That's happening for the Lakers. Reid for 3. Naz Reid responds.
The Timberwolves have a Rudy Gobert problem. They have a big advantage in this series, being up 3-1, but this problem goes beyond this series and the playoffs in general. Gobert didn't have a single shot attempt in Game 3 since his teammates were hesitant to give him the ball or trust him. Chris Finch tried to make up for it by giving him the first possession in Game 4, and this was the result. Rudy Gobert is making $40 million a year after the Timberwolves traded the house to get him. They even had to cut ties with Karl Anthony Towns just to keep him. Now, he did take a lower salary with his new extension, but his weaknesses are still way too much to overcome to justify his price tag. First, he has the worst hands in the league by far. I don't think there's been a player in NBA history that struggles as much as Gobert to hang on to the basketball. He constantly drops passes from his teammates that should lead to easy baskets. Even when he's wide open, he just can't hang on to the ball. He also can't use his size advantage since every time they try to post him up, he just loses the basketball. For his size, Rudy also struggles to rebound. He only had 6 rebounds in the first 2 games and 3 in the third game, before Game 4 where he finally made a presence on the glass. But the Lakers have barely played a center in this series, and for the most part, Rudy just hasn't been a factor on the glass. To give you an idea of how little Rudy Gobert has impacted this series, let's look at a player like Ivica Zubac on the Clippers. Zubac only makes $10 million, but averaged 17 and 13 on the season and jumped to 19 and 12 in the playoffs. Zubac has great hands, he's a constant lob threat from guys like James Harden, he's a rebounding machine who gives a boost on the offensive glass, he's a post-up threat when you absolutely need a basket, and he's put up the same amount of blocks as Gobert in this postseason. He's doing all of this while going up against Nikola Jokic rather than a team that doesn't have a center. This Gobert problem isn't something you can just ignore. Having a player like Gobert clogging up the paint without being a threat whatsoever locks up your offense with a lack of spacing and holds everyone else back. In Game 1, the Timberwolves blew out the Lakers. A lot of the damage came when Naz Reid checked in for Gobert.
Back out to Reid for 3 for the lead. Got it. And Minnesota has stormed back here.
Naz made 6 threes for 23 points, had more blocks, and only 1 less rebound than Gobert. But forget Naz's individual production for a second. His ability to space the floor changes the entire offense. He gives Edwards and Randle room to operate, which created that big lead in Game 1. But even without Naz in the game, take away Gobert, and look how Ant showcases his playmaking, finding guys in the open gaps. In Game 4, the Timberwolves were down 7 when Chris Finch decided to sub out Gobert for Naz Reid to do what Gobert can't: take advantage of the mismatch and knock down open shots, breathing new life into a T-Wolves team that was on the ropes. But he bit the Gobert bullet again, bringing him back in for defense off of free throws, and look what happened. He then goes back to Reid and, well, here's Reid on defense the very next play. It's almost as simple as telling Chris Finch, you play Gobert, you lose, you play Reid, you win. He played Reid and they won. That sequence alone gave Naz Reid a +9 for the game, while Gobert was one of only 2 starters in the negative. Obviously, with Gobert on the court, he provides elite rim protection and does give them a boost defensively when he's at his best. But when he's playing like he is right now, you need to trust your other defenders and give your offense a chance to flow, especially for a Minnesota team that has such great perimeter defenders. Gobert has shown he's not willing to improve these glaring weaknesses in his game to keep trying to make it work. This was the same problems he was having in Utah, which caused problems between him and Donovan Mitchell, as Mitchell would often freeze him out in late game situations. As great as the Timberwolves are, their offense has been awkward all season, and part of that was on Julius Randle. But there's no denying how great Julius Randle has been in this series, while Gobert has just been in the way. You're willing to live with the flaws of a Julius Randle more than you are of a Gobert, because Gobert just doesn't give you anything offensively, and his defense isn't enough to offset that horrible offense. In the regular season, he gives you 12 points per game on over 60% shooting to go with that amazing defense, but in these playoffs, he's become a liability. There's other players that can do so much more than Gobert. One of them is sitting on your bench. It hasn't been any clearer that Naz Reid needs to close games for this team. Gobert has shown he's not willing to improve those glaring weaknesses in his game, and if he continues to play like he is right now, and Naz Reid sits on the bench, the Timberwolves won't make it much further, even if they win this series.